So you're playing a game. A bunch of hours pass. And you forget that you were hungry. You forget that there's a world outside. Then you see a loading screen. Or you talk to one of the characters in the game and they say something stupid, or they say the same thing over and over again. Right then you'll notice the rumbling in your stomach, and you're just a person sitting on a couch holding a controller. What just happened? What broke? More importantly, what was working before that made you forget you were hungry? Today we're going to talk about immersion. Let's make it make sense.
Both these redneck families think they can ruin us? I don't think so.
There they are.
Who steals a goddamn boy? I'm gonna let fly at those sons of bitches! Don, I need you to stay calm. Get down here now! You inbred trash!
What the hell do you want? Easy, John.
We've come for the boy.
Most people treat immersion like a dial. If it's a good game, the dial goes up. If it's a bad game, the dial goes down. That's not really how immersion works. Immersion is the result of a bunch of different systems that do things at the same time, and they don't contradict each other. So like the graphics, the sound, the story, the controls, the music, the user interface, physics, the behavior of the characters. When all of these things are working together and they agree on what the world is, you believe the world. You look at it and you're like, hey, I'm in here. When one of them jumps out of that or disagrees, it breaks it a little bit. It's best to think of it like a stage production. If the acting is really good, if the set is doing what it's supposed to, if the lighting is great, and then you hear someone's phone go off, the play didn't get worse. The show doesn't get worse. You just got taken out of the moment. So immersion is less about what the game does and more about what it doesn't fuck up. Every game is built from two kinds of elements. There are the things that exist inside the world and the things that are injected from outside. So things that can be in the world are like ambient sounds, like your footsteps, wind, characters talking to themselves around you, the noise that a sword makes when you unsheath it or when it hits armor, the rain on a rooftop. All of these are sounds that exist in the world because the world exists. If you were there, you'd hear them. Then there are things that exist from outside the world. So like the way the orchestral score can swell when you approach a boss. The little button prompt right next to an enemy that tells you, press triangle. The health bar floating right over your head. The little mini map on the corner of your screen. These are things that the game designers put in just to help you play the game. They're not part of the world. They're about it. Now, neither one of these categories is inherently good or bad. But the more that a game can take the outside stuff and make it seem like it's inside stuff, the more seamless everything becomes. The best games solve the problem of outside the world elements by disguising them as inside the world elements. So, for example, Dead Space. Dead Space put the health bar on Isaac Clarke's spine. The suit lights up to show how close to death you are. The map is a hologram that's projected from the wrist. You never have to leave the world to check any status. All the information was there, but it's part of Isaac's world. It's not part of the interface. The Last of Us did something similar. While The Last of Us did have some health bar stuff, Joel's health wasn't a number. It was, you could hear him breathe different. You can see the way he moved slower, or the way he held himself. So you didn't really have to look at it. The game would trust you to read the body language. God of War gave you the option of hiding the heads-up display completely. And so the world, as you played it, just got to be there. And the elements would show up when you needed them, and then they would fade away. It also didn't cut the camera. So unless you were going into menus, you didn't have a camera cut for like loading screens or scene changes. All of it was one consistent stream.
And when you see a really complex narrative dialogue delivered without cuts, that doesn't look like the camera is swinging back and forth and actually everything's just flowing organic, it's incredibly gratifying.
It does not attack.
When you combine a sense of documentary with a camera that doesn't cut, you get a very empathetic point of view to the character. It's such an immersive way to experience the hero's journey. I don't think the player would have experienced anything like this before.
These are not aesthetic choices. These are all structural decisions about where the information is on the screen and what it costs for your eyes to access it. There's one element in a game that I want to highlight as an attention to detail. If you look at the Spider-Man games, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, there's a specific part of the system that really gets you into the game, and it doesn't announce itself. As a matter of fact, any of you that have played this game and haven't heard of this system probably don't even know it exists. And now that I'm telling you, you'll notice it. And that is the fact that the actors that played Peter Parker and Miles Morales recorded several different voice tracks. And so if you are walking around as Spider-Man and nothing's going on, and Peter gets a phone call or Miles gets a phone call, Peter, Miles, they talk normal. There's no excitedness in their voice. They're very calm because they're walking. Now, in that exact same call, if you all of a sudden hit the button to start swinging, you'll hear now, if you haven't heard this before, you will hear a difference in the tone. They'll start speaking more animated. They'll start shouting. Same thing happens with combat. Like combat could end a phone call, and you'll hear the character say, "Hey, I gotta go. I'll be right back," and then continue the call when the combat is over. So you have these seamless transitions that the gamer, unless you're looking for something like that, you don't notice, but it keeps you in the action, keeps you thinking this is something that's actually happening, and it increases the immersion. Now, things that break immersion are almost as informative as things that help with immersion. So, for example, if you put too many things in the heads up, too many health bars, too many numbers, too many stamina meters, too many maps, too many prompts, dialogue boxes, loading screens, now you're really aware that you're playing a game. When you have all of this stuff, there's not really an elegant solution. The best thing to do is minimize these things. Now, I'm not talking to game developers because they do what they do, but I just want you to realize what it is that's happening when this happens. Also, this is a difficult one for developers, but the NPCs, non-playable characters, when they say the same thing over and over again,
Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
or they don't have a variety of dialogue, or they're not responding in context to what you're doing, that can break immersion. One game that's really good at the NPC immersion overall is Red Dead Redemption 2. If you look up reviews of this game, or if you've played this game, you'll know that every single character that you run into has tons of dialogue options, and they react to you. You can do something in the game at one point and come back later, and they'll react to you differently. They respond in context to what you're doing. And so with that increases the feeling of you being in the Wild West, and the fact that you are in a lived-in world, that your choices have consequences, that you'll see somebody who you were in a fight with have some sort of injury that they're treating, or be happy to see you or angry to see you simply because of something that happened. So what are the things that preserve immersion? One big one that comes to mind, like I mentioned before, was no-cut cameras. And God of War is the #1 benchmark here. One shot from the beginning to the end. If you don't switch your gear, if you don't have to go into the menu for any reason, you can actually record this game and have one single continuous shot. No black screens, no loading screens, no pauses, none of that. You never stop being in the game long enough to remember you're not. Other things are seamless gameplay to cutscene transitions. So and a lot of games do this, but when you see a game where you're playing something and you finish a mission and all of a sudden the camera might zoom in a little to let you know you're not controlling the character anymore, or zoom out a little, or immediately just the character moves in a specific direction. Maybe the lighting shifts to let you know, but it doesn't change the screen. It doesn't load into a cutscene. It just transitions into it. Those things help. Creativity with loading screens. Another shout out to Spider-Man here. The Spider-Man loading screens where you do fast travel and Peter Parker gets on the train and has a whole bunch of different interactions. Those are sometimes so good that you don't want to turn on the fast loading if you have a PS5. You want to experience those. That's pretty cool to have something that makes you put in a loading screen because it's such a good experience that it keeps you in the game. Now, the part that complicates all of this is subjectivity. It depends on you. Like, some players like a lot of information on the screen. It reduces their anxiety. Some players do not want a single thing on the screen. Some players are distracted by photorealistic graphics. Some players really hate like pixel graphics. The best games account for immersion by making as many of these elements optional. They let you turn on and off subtitles. They let you turn on and off certain interactions. They let you turn on and off certain prompts. Because at the end of the day, the best games are the ones that speak to you. Immersion is not magic. There's not really like one tried and true formula. Like I said, it is a lot of systems that work together, and they do their job the best when they take you off the couch and bring you into the screen. The best games understand that every element, when it's put in, is either building the agreement of the world or taking away from the agreement of the world. Every sound, every part of the user interface, every part of the dialogue, every camera cut, the world is either being held together or it's being ripped apart and showing its edges. Peter Parker does not pause the fight to take a phone call. That world keeps moving. That's the standard. Hopefully I made it make sense. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe, share it with one of your friends, and I'll see you next time.